my presentation, please. Hello, good afternoon. It's really great to be here. Oh, okay, is my presentation on the screen. In the next 10 minutes, I would like to speak with you about the state of the Israeli high-tech, and then, more importantly, about the ties between the Indian tech ecosystem and the Israeli tech ecosystem. I myself am the CEO of the Israel Innovation Authority. The Israel Innovation Authority is the government agency which is responsible for the high-tech sector in Israel. All sectors, all stages, all stakeholders. We do invest about $500 million every year into tech ventures, primarily deep tech, primarily early stage, and also creating the best business environment for high-tech in the state of Israel. You may ask, why do we need a special agency just for high-tech in Israel? Well, I want to share with you a few numbers that show how centric is the high-tech sector for the Israeli economy. The first one is that Israel is investing every year 6.4% of its GDP in research and development. This is the highest number in the world by far, more than twice than the OECD average. This leads to the fact that Israel is number one in the world. This is a different indicator. 2 out of the top 10 universities in the world in terms of producing entrepreneurs that founded the companies. 2 of them are Israelis, the Tel Aviv University and the Technion in Haifa. All these unicorns and startups are, all these universities are creating a lot of unicorns and startups, and Israel is ranked number 1 in the world per capita in terms of number of startups and unicorns. This leads to the fact that 17% of Israeli GDP comes from the tech sector, and this is really a high number. In the US, the technology superpower of the world, it's less than 10%. In Europe, it's less than 5%. Frankly, I don't know what is the number in India, but this is regarded very, very high. And this 17% of the GDP also produces about 60% of Israeli export. So now I think you can understand, just by looking at those few numbers, how much important is the tech ecosystem to the Israeli economy, and this is why we have a special agency for that. But all of those numbers were true up to October 7th. You know that a war was forced upon us with a great surprise, and it was a very severe war. First of all, from the security point of view, but also for the business, from the business point of view. Just think about startups and high-tech companies that 20% of their workforce was recruited to military duty. Think about the fact that for a very long while, there were no flights coming in and out from Israel because of the security situation. So how can a tech company that needs to sell to the global market cannot send people to its customers? A startup that is raising funds cannot invite an investor to visit the company. So it was really, really challenging. And this is why a lot of anxiety was created, and this is why we started to use this slogan, Israeli tech delivers no matter what. First of all, we said it to ourselves in order to believe in it, and then it was also a message to the world that we will deliver. You can see also the billboard of NASDAQ in New York with the same slogan. And I'm very happy to say 2 years later that indeed the high-tech sector in Israel delivered. And I want to share with you again few numbers that show how much we delivered despite the situation. Well, 2025, this year, and I want to remind you that we are in ceasefire only for the last month and a half, was actually the best year ever for technology M&As in Israel. So you can see that up till now, and the year is not over yet, more than $70 billion of M&As, multinational companies, foreign companies acquiring startups in Israel, because despite the security situation, because they believe they are acquiring great assets from the technology and business point of view. I'm sure you heard about these two mega deals, Google acquiring Wiz for $32 billion, Palo Alto acquiring CyberArk for $25 billion. So it's not only small startups, but actually quite mature startups with significant revenues. So this is one indication to the fact that Israeli tech delivered. The second indication is that fundraising for startups was also in a very good pace in 2024, and the same 2025 is even better. Israel is ranked number 5 after 4 other tech hubs. We measure ourselves, because we are a tiny country, we measure ourselves either to countries in our size or to cities, which are the size of Israel. So you can see that 3 tech hubs are coming from the US, and then London and Israel is number 5 in absolute number. It's not normalized to the size of the population. You saw that many of those M&As and many of the startups in Israel are around, let's call it B2B application. It's cybersecurity, it's fintech, it's enterprise software in general. But I want to share with you that Israeli technology or Israeli high-tech is very diversified, and there are many other sectors which have a lot of activity, we have a lot of activity in. And I will mention only a few of them, which I believe are very relevant also for this audience. The first, AI. No one can do a presentation today without speaking about AI. So AI infrastructure, meaning the underlying hardware, whether it's chips or communication, the software infrastructure, and of course, on top of that, also many AI applications. We currently estimate to have more than 2,000 tech companies in Israel which embedded AI deeply into their offering. Semiconductors as a whole is a very strong point of Israeli high-tech. All of the global chips companies in the world have a very strong R&D center in Israel. NVIDIA, Intel, Apple, Samsung, everyone have an R&D center in Israel. Quantum computing that was mentioned before, very strong cluster of quantum computing companies in Israel. For those of you who did not visit our pavilion downstairs, it's a good opportunity to invite you there. A selection of very interesting companies. One of them is also a category leading in quantum computing. So lots of activity in there. And the question before was about quantum computing and AI. Just think about AI model being trained on a quantum computer. This could be mind-blowing. The next one, defense tech. Unfortunately, we had to use all our defense tech in the last 2 years. I'm sure you saw the pictures of Iron Dome and how it was intercepting missiles in the sky. We were downstairs in those buildings, hearing all the explosions above us. Synthetic biology. I always say that there are 2 major disruptive revolutions that are happening in the world. The first one is artificial intelligence, and everyone speaks about artificial intelligence. Even, you know, the popular newspapers. The second revolution, which is a silent one, not less disruptive, is synthetic biology. Ability to change forms of life, ability to create new forms of life. We believe it's going to bring a new wave of innovation, and we have a lot of activity there. Agri-tech, and I can go on and on. Food tech and energy tech and smart mobility and space tech. You can find everything in Israel in terms of deep technology. I can also share with you that we see, following the war, a lot of entrepreneurial activity, even more than before the war. We call it the startups baby boom. And the reason, we believe the reason is the fact that people were drawn out of their comfort zone and saw needs that otherwise they wouldn't have seen, and met people that otherwise they would not have met. And this collision of people and ideas is creating a lot of startups, and we already see it in the ecosystem. So I don't know if there are investors or corporates here. This is good time to engage with Israel now that things are relaxed there. Good time to consider investments or partnerships or doing pilots with Israeli technology. This is an open invitation to do so. Now, let's talk about Israel and India. You see this little dot here is Israel. You can see, obviously, the difference in size, but there is also a big difference in the size of population. Only 10 million people in Israel. We calculated this week that in India, every year, another Israel is being created just from the addition of population. There is a big gap in terms of GDP per capita, and there is already in place a lot of export and import between the countries, but I believe we still have a long way to go. We are only scratching the surface. Before I joined the Innovation Authority, I was a CEO of a global Israeli high-tech company doing telecom equipment, and we had a lot of business in India. It was very tough to get in, to be frank. It took a lot of time, and we had to do a lot of customization, both in the technology as well as in the cost, to adapt ourselves to the Indian market. But once we were in, it was like amazing uphill, and it was great. So doing business in India, from my personal experience, is very good, and we try to help Israeli startups and Israeli tech companies to understand this potential. And I want to share with you something. Many Israeli startups and entrepreneurs from day one think about the American market, because most of the investors are American. When it comes to M&As, typically it will be an American company acquiring the startup in Israel. If the company will reach an IPO stage, the IPO will be in America, so they think about America. And our message to them is that they should continue to look west, but they also should start and look east, because India is already one of the largest economies in the world. It continues to grow very fast. The market here is amazing for technology and for scaling up. And we want to encourage as much activities cross-border, investors from both sides investing in the other side, companies assimilating technologies for the benefit of the two countries. We already have in place a bilateral fund together with the Department for Science and Technology of India. We have a bilateral fund called I4F, and the purpose of this fund is to invest in joint R&D activities of Indian and Israeli-based companies. So if you need help with matchmaking with Israeli entities, you're most welcome to approach us. And if the project is good, together with the Indian DST, we will decide if we want to fund those ventures or not. But anyhow, again, I'm calling for you to come and visit our pavilion, and more than that, reach to us and try to find how we build relations going forward. Thank you very much. This is us. Yes, of course. Happy to take questions from the audience.
Hello. Sir, here. Sir, here.
Yes.
Just want to know what are the things that India can look forward in the space of EV mobility, basically, because India is rapidly shifting into electric vehicles. Electric vehicles, you can see, right? Whether it's charging, the infrastructure, especially if there is some kind of collaboration in the space for micro-mobility, cycling. I just saw one Israeli guy with a very good cycle.
Yes.
Okay, I think there's a huge market because I work in the space of cycling. How can we kind of like, this is like not like very deep tech, like, but very essential, but simple tech.
It's not simple at all. The question was about cooperation in smart mobility, solutions for advanced transportation. I think that anyone that comes to India understands the challenge of transportation here, right? But it's the same in Israel. Everyone that comes to Israel gets the same experience, more or less. The roads are jammed. And we have a lot of activity around smart mobility. Actually, in the pavilion downstairs, we have 12 companies that are demonstrating their smart mobility solutions. It can be in the form of bicycles. It can be in the form of components for the car industry. And by the way, drones. One of the things that we believe is going to change transportation is the ability to use the sky for deliveries of goods and deliveries of even people, right? Air taxis. I can share with you that one of the things we have done in Israel in the recent years was a sandbox for drones deliveries. Together with the regulator, the Israeli Aviation Authority, and all the startups that are working in this space, we have created a sandbox in which they could develop and test their capabilities, delivering ice cream, sushi, even blood from one hospital to the other. And we expect this to become commercial in the next coming years. So this is one thing which is very much on our radar. With regards to the cooperation with India, actually one of the topics I4F wants to promote this year is smart mobility. This is why we have so many companies downstairs in smart mobility. So this is a great timing to work together on that.
Thank you. That was a lot in a nutshell. May I request Drorbin to kindly receive our honor, and may I request Sri Guru Prasad SG, Vice President and Global Director, Bosch Global Software Technologies, to kindly give away our token of gratitude to Drorbin.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, to your kind notice, we are at session 9, focusing on Infinite Horizons, the intersection of technology, purpose, and creativity. Continuing the discussion, we now have Shri Anchal Jain. May I request Shri Anchal Jain to kindly come up on stage, founding partner, Walmore.
Okay, here I am.
Out of business cup.
Founding partner at Walmore Action Advisory and faculty co-chair at IIM Ahmedabad's Creative and Cultural Business Program. Anchal brings 38 years of expertise in creative, cultural and lifestyle industries with a strong focus on premium and luxury brand strategy. May I request Shri Anchal Jain ji to kindly present his views on the changing face of creativity.
Thank you so much. You know, coming after Mr. Drorbin and Israel Tech, listening to all of that, I'm wondering what I'm doing here. It was the year 1985 when I entered the Haloed portals of IIM Ahmedabad as a student. And in the first year, we had a course on computer science. And something like that. You know, I don't even remember the title very well. And I have my business partner here, who was also my batchmate. He was one of the toppers. I asked him if he remembered the course name, and he also didn't remember. So I said, okay, you don't have an excuse. I had a very legitimate excuse because I regularly missed those classes. So I can define myself as a thoroughbred, fully certified technophobe. So when I got this invite from BTS to talk here, I found it very unexpected and inexplicable, to be honest. I didn't know what I was going to talk here, and I was reminded of the time in 2013 when I was invited by IIM to serve as a visiting faculty there. I had no idea what I'm going to teach or how I'm going to teach, and I have no idea what I should be talking here. However, I'm here, so this is all you have. Let me begin with this short video In fact, this is a video I received, I saw on Instagram the same day I received the invite.
As a writer, what's your relationship with technology? How do you feel about the coming AI revolution? Because a lot of creators are worried about it.
Intense irritation. I cannot tell you. I cannot begin to tell you because I write longhand, so I write
Like on legal pads or something?
on a pad,
Yeah,
old
yeah.
scripts actually.
Yeah.
Because I believe that there is a connection between the brain and the hand, and I think there's a real.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
If I have to memorize a part,
Yeah,
I have
you
to
write
it
it
by
out.
hand.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
So it's very important to me that. And then when I've written something, I will put it into a Word document. And recently, the Word document is constantly saying, would you like me to rewrite that for you? And so I end up just going, I don't need you to rewrite what I've just written. Will you off? Just off! I'm so annoyed.
I'm Emma Thompson, with a very big difference. She later converts that into a Word document, while I just hand over my notes to the team and let them suffer. So, yeah, I mean, creativity is not about outcomes. It is about the vision. It is about the unique vision that the creatives or a creative founder or a creative director would start with. The uniqueness comes from there. We are all different. We are inherently individuals. And this uniqueness is actually very difficult to explain because there are a lot of factors that play into it. For example, especially our childhood, our growing up, our culture, our failings, and thankfully, we are not perfect. As human beings, we are imperfect. And creativity's magic resides in the spaces in between. It lies in our rough edges. It lies in our darkest moments. It lies in our emotions. It resides between the perfect and the imperfect. And that's the beauty of imperfection. In fact, imperfection and uncertainty, unpredictability are very valuable. We search for the predictable. But the beauty that the creatives seek is in the unpredictable, in the uncertainty. They are able to connect dots from an emotional space and not a rational space. And just like there is beauty in imperfection, there is beauty in the irrational. Human beings, by definition, we are irrational. And most importantly, the artist completely disregards what the customer wants. And this is important. An artist is not going to ask, what may I serve you today, sir? The last time you came, you had a chicken sandwich. And the time before that, you had a pesto pasta. So would you like to repeat any of that? Or we have pesto chicken. Now, that is not what an artist does. Apple products would not have existed if an artist called Steve Jobs tried to optimize everything to the needs of the customers. So there is extreme value in what the artists, what the real creatives do versus what AI can deliver and work for them. I'll give you another example from the food industry. Some of my students are here, they're familiar with it. There is a difference between handcrafted sushi done by Jiro Ono, if you know who Jiro Ono is, and a conveyor belt sushi. Both deliver value, by the way. Conveyor belt sushi optimizes output to the needs of the customers. They will optimize using tech, data, AI. They will optimize, they will understand the customer preferences very well. They will optimize the cost, they will optimize the inventory, they will optimize outcomes. Jiro Ono, on the other hand, doesn't care about the customer. What he cares about is the finest fish available in the early morning market. And then imagine what he can do with that produce. The customers don't know what they are going to get. There's hardly any variety. It is under a subway in Tokyo, a hole in the wall, only 10 people seating at a time, and you need 3 years to get a reservation and pay 30,000 yen for a sushi. In 20 minutes, you're out. I ask you the question, what has more value? A, from the customer's point of view, and B, from the VC's point of view. Two different values altogether. What are we trying to optimize for? That is the real question. So my point really is that creativity's magic lies not in obedience, but in disobedience. And let me give an example of that. And this example I'm taking from a good creative business, or in this case, a luxury business. Obedience is important. It's, mind you, conformity obedience is terribly important. But the value is created by this role called creative director. There are two key roles. And a creative director's essential ask, he is told to be disobedient. Disregard what the customer wants, but surprise them. Now, how do you surprise them? They worship the art, true art. And therefore, the enchantment for the customer, the delight for the customer, or the surprise for the customer emerges from here. It does not emerge from serving the consumer preference completely, which is the role of the merchandiser. On one hand, you are completely breaking the rules. On the other hand, you are serving the customer. But the value is created by this person. At the same time, the merchandiser making sure that he's obedient. Who is he obedient to? To the customer. Not by telling the creative director what to produce, but just making sure that if the customer needs, an evening bag of a certain size at a certain price point, that is delivered by the creative director. So for them, the job is to learn and optimize. Now, AI technology can serve both the roles. In theory, what is actually happening is that the role of AI is entering into this space and compromising the creativity and therefore the consumer delight and surprise. And the tech industries has to understand this. At the same time, even the creative brands need to understand this. It can help both. For the merchandiser, it is very obvious in all kinds of optimizations, in terms of store allocations, in buying, in customer intelligence, market intelligence, all of that bit, AI and technology can deeply help. Okay? It can also theoretically, in theory, help the creative director by taking on where they can delegate all the repetitive work, exploration works, the what-if experiments, all the things that can be learned and automated. They can be delegated to AI, freeing the time for the creative directors to create better. In fact, one of the big problems in the luxury houses today is creative burnout. Why is that happening? Because we are asking them to create faster and more. So they are also, in a way, ending up becoming a conveyor belt sushi, where they should be like a Jiro. Let merchandiser do that job. Now, the problem there is that the brands are themselves in a race. And if AI is making that race only faster and getting them to create more, even faster, then everyone is racing to die first. At the end, who will be the loser? Us, human beings. Because we are irrational people, we need that feed. How else would you explain the success of a Lububu? We need a Lububu as much as we need immediate and quick delivery. Yeah? Because I want my Lububu fast, but I need a Lububu. We have a Zepto girl here. In other words, AI can encourage more thoughtful, more intentional creations. But there is a if. So I will end by saying that in this era of our craze for artificial intelligence and technology, let us not forget one fundamental truth. Tech products are not an end in themselves. They are a means to an end. And that end is consumer comfort and consumer delight. Creativity serves the same purpose, but with a big difference. Humans are emotional and humans are irrational. And for this purpose, it is very important for technology industries, giants, experts, to understand that ignoring this aspect will make the whole world sad. It will make the world more uniform, more robotic, and depressive. Let creativity shine. And actually, the way to do it is to work alongside with the best creative people. Let me remind you again, some of the best and the most successful tech integrations in the creative industry, in the luxury industry, have been led and driven by the creative directors, not heads of technology. So instead of trying to replace creativity or mimic creativity, please work with the creatives and get them to understand how best to use and deliver us more delight, deliver us more surprise. And that's the part that is missing, because just as creatives, like I'm a pseudo-creative, don't understand technology, but I need to. I understand enough to see how I can use it, especially for customer engagement, etc. But the contrary also needs to happen. The tech industry needs to understand the creative industry very well and the creative functioning. And to the few creators who have accidentally meandered into this room, I would say, know yourself very, very well. Push that uniqueness that you have, uniquely have, chisel that, and be unapologetically yourself. Be unapologetically and joyfully yourself, and be disobedient. Okay? I'll just end by this very short video, because in case you still lose a job to AI, in India we have millions of other career opportunities. I'll show you one, and then I'll say goodbye. AI is not taking this away. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, sir. We would request you to kindly receive the honor. May I request Guru Prasad as Vice President and Global Director of Bosch Global Software Technologies to kindly present the token of respect to Shri Anchal Jain ji. Continuing views on infinite horizons, the intersection of technology, purpose and creativity, may we now have Shri Guru Prasad S.G., Vice President and Global Director, Bosch Global Software Technologies, to kindly present his views on the same topic. In his executive role, he leads engineering and software intensive programs catering to business sectors of industry, healthcare, consumer goods, energy and building technologies. He is responsible for data science, application software, embedded engineering as horizontal center for competence. May I request all of you to kindly put your hands together to welcome Shri Guru Prasad S.G. to kindly present his views.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me, please? Good afternoon. My name is Guru Prasad. I come from the German company Bosch. After the insightful lecture from the professor on creativity, I will try to bring a diametrically opposite but complementing thought process. I have been given this topic of talking about infinite horizons, intersection of technology, purpose, and then comes creativity. That's what I'm going to talk about. Please note that we were given very short notice, so we have tried to together with my teams here, we have tried to put across some thoughts. Hopefully you will find that valuable. This is all about when we want a technology which does not exist. What you see on the left side is a mobility possibility which today is still in a prototyping phase, waiting for the right technology interventions for it to come to reality. The one below is nothing but autonomous driving. Leaps and bounds have been made, but still there is a technology which is needed to bring it to mass adoption. What happens when the purpose is unclear? What you see on the top there is the augmented and virtual reality topic. The technology is there, but the purpose seems to be unclear. How much ever is the attempt being made, that the whole thing does not seem to be take off in a big way. The one below that is the topic of metaverse, where the technology went far ahead, the creativity is also there, but metaverse did not live up to the expectation because suddenly human beings did not find for what purpose do I need to use this. Last but not least, you heard about creativity. I'm sure many of us know about the creativity. The three elements are not present. Whatever be the good intention, it doesn't come to fruition. I do hope that you all agree with this thought. So we are trying to a little bit dissect the world of purpose, technology and creativity, and at the end of it, we will come to something a little bit more meaningful. This is a crude layouting. Even while having lunch in the afternoon at Bosch, we sat down and tried to perfect this. On the y-axis is what we call the possibility. On the x-axis is the realization. What you see is the speed of innovation is rapid and dramatic. The innovation could come from any angle. But the realization, or what we call the adoption curve, has to cross all the barriers of human scrutiny. So we call this as an exponential possibility, but the realization is still linked to that ultimate human being who has to find the combination meaningful. What are the combination? Is the technology good enough? Is it solving a right problem? Is it creative enough for me to work, but does not go beyond into that virtual keyboard model which really failed in terms of adoption? We'll try to take a little bit of each one of them. Purpose. Why do we need to solve this problem? Should be crystal clear. The purpose also says somebody has to disproportionately invest their time, and that also needs to be very, very clear in terms of the humans getting invested into a topic. On top is the creativity. What might we, this is where the professor spoke, reimagine the possibilities. How could somebody work with the constraints to bring out something creatively meaningful? On the right side is the technology world. Unless otherwise we know how to do it, it will not see the light of the day. And here we are talking of realization and impact. Why do I need technology? Because I need to scale. So I need to create that impact which comes from technology. So purpose, what do we do? Creativity, what might we? And technology, the how behind it. Only when these three come together is there an infinite horizon where everybody can potentially thrive. Yeah? I'll just take what happens now. We saw when one of them is missing. Let's see what happens when two of them come together. When I bring the purpose and creativity together, I get some insights. I get some insights. There is an unmet need. There is a creative thought. I get an insight. What does it result in? It results in vibrancy because there is an element of creativity. It results in aspirational advancements. What is what we call as wow? You see some more elements of it. When the technology element is missing, what happens in this world is the impact tends to be fragmented. I can take a small team in this room, make you wow. Moment I go out of the room, the technology is not there for it to create the impact. Or the missing technology makes you blind to scalability. I can wow 10 of you, but I cannot wow beyond the 10 of you. That is the power of missing technology. But the creativity and purpose brings together vibrancy and aspiration. I hope you all agree. Let's go to the next two. I bring purpose and I bring technology. I'm removing creativity. It brings practical answers because there is a, sorry to say, an engineer whose breathing is to solve problems of life, and transformative solutions can come. Purpose, technology, practical answers, and transformative solution. When the creativity element is missing, what happens here is the engineer tends to solve but could make the whole thing excessively complex for normal human beings to even comprehend. The engineer job is to find the solution. He may never have found the differentiation. So this is where you see a wide number of solutions who are running behind a purpose, who have a strong technology backing, but miss on the creativity. This is their world. Yeah? Last but not the least, the next two combination, when creativity and technology come together. New possibilities are created because there is somebody creative. Solutions are there because there's an engineer who is coming in the picture. And the engineer is a perpetually happy soul on this earth. They always try to better it. They wake up in the morning, they want to better yesterday, they will better it. What is that you need to watch out here? Market rejection. Highly creative, highly engineered, no clear problem to solve. Market will reject it. Last one, the user says, wonderful, keep it in your lab, make it as a showpiece, I don't see a use out of it. This is this world. Do I all have you with me? Am I making sense or am I speaking nonsense? I see thumbs up, so I should be making some sense. Now let's try to marry the three of them, which is the whole theme of the short talk. I bring the purpose. I bring the technology to solve the purpose. I am also parallelly creative. We were struggling. This was like in Bosch, it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We need to give you an example to make this understandable. Then we said, let's take something which is everybody understandable. The last one, the technology piece. By that time, the telecommunication revolution in India has already matured. We are by far the fastest adapter of 5G technologies. Thanks to one company, we were flushing in data in bytes, which even water in India is not possible to flush at that rate. Thanks to that company, we were having bandwidth which was excessively available, and then there was this mobile phone revolution. So we said, we take the mobile phone, make that secure. Generally, you need to make it secure because somebody's money. And I need to give it an instantaneous, what we in our former times when I was an engineering developer, we used to call this TPS system, transaction processing system. My purpose, I needed to be creative because I can't ask somebody in the village to walk to a bank in Bangalore and do the transaction. and my ability to solve a problem technologically within the landscape of India is what led to this benchmark solution, which is basically redefining the economic power of this country. You can take a lot more examples. I had to be very, very careful that we're not taking any brands so that it doesn't, I'm standing on a podium here. So by far, this can be a very neutral example where all of them came together. Now that you get this, I will take you to the last portion of the story. Just like the previous speaker spoke, I come from a technology powerhouse, a company which has been in existence on this earth for the last 150 years, Germany-based. The center in Bangalore today is the largest development and engineering center of this German conglomerate outside mainland Germany. There is no other center on this earth which has the capability what we have built, and our managing director, Mr. Dattatri, received the honor yesterday from the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister, and other dignitaries for successfully running a GCC of an enormous magnitude which ran for 25 years within Bangalore. We are by far one of the biggest MNCs. Typically, we have about 30,000 engineers across the entire spectrum of technologies who work on it. And then they created this cute little thing. Some of the people who created are actually sitting here. If you have time, talk to them. We're talking of this is a healthcare device. How many of you can believe this is a healthcare product? This looks more like a cute little gadget, but this is a class 2 medical device approved by the medical fraternity and the regulatory body. What is the topic all about? At any point in time on this earth, and even in this room, on this earth there are about 2 billion people who suffer from a condition called anemia. Anemia is nothing but lack of red blood cells. Red blood cells are the transport protocol of the body, an engineer's definition of a medical word. Picks up oxygen molecule from the lungs, takes it to the muscle, dumps the oxygen molecule, an empty space is created, it picks up a carbon dioxide molecule, comes back to the lungs, dumps it, takes oxygen, goes back. The entire life is anchored on this one mechanism critical to the body. But when you have less hemoglobin, the person is generally feeling weak, fatigued, and is prone to disease. And most of the people live with this condition, never ever knowing they are anemic. Yeah? What is the challenge with them? Anemia today can be detected by drawing 5 ml of blood from the venous system, or by making some 4 or 5 puncture wounds on the finger, but you need to draw blood. One of the things with blood is it's highly emotional. Nobody wants to see their own blood. It has a religious connotation. It has a cultural connotation. With all these things, people avoid testing of that. What did we need? We needed a solution where, like today, the laboratory comes to the patient need not go to the lab. The patient need not worry about puncture wounds because this guy does not puncture and take out blood at all. When I do the testing, I cannot be waiting for a consumable, a chemical, a reagent, a strip. It does not require any other consumable. It's connected. You can dump the data and you can do population health analytics on the cloud. You don't even have power. It comes with an industrial grade battery. Like a mobile phone, it will work for 1 full day without even power connection. I'm just trying to tell you all the practical problems it had to solve. And what we have here is 100% non-invasive, zero consumable, portable, connected, handheld device which can work by itself or which can work when connected. The AI algorithms are also flashed on the board. it has edge intelligence on the board, the entire circuitry, the boards, the electrical, electronics, everything. This could only be done by an engineering conglomerate like Bosch. And this is the solution which we are talking. It also looks quite cute and elegant because a lot of, like Professor said, a lot of our UX designers sat down. Initially, we had trouble that people were not knowing where to stick their hand. The UX designers also made the thing dome-like with the Global Innovation Award in the entire conglomerate. Never in the history of India had a product reached the headquarters and won the Innovation Award. 25 patents are filed over it, and as on today, it is a certified medical class 2 device where more than 100,000 people have already been tested. This is the solution: creativity, purpose, technology. When they come together, magics like this happen. And with this, I will only leave you with this message. Ask anything you do with the following questions. Why does it matter? Very many times, innovation is frustrating, but you need to have the answer, why does it matter? How might we solve it? You better have an engineer on board. How do we realize it? You better have somebody from creativity to realize that engineering marvel which can be got to this shape. Last thought, are we investing in technology that truly serves purpose and scale impact? Or are we pursuing technology for its own sake? In Bangalore, you need to be very careful because you trip and fall, you get the next technology. You trip and fall once more, you get the third technology. That's not the solution. You need to trip and fall and you need to get those technologies, but hope we also will get right the purpose and the creativity. Thank you very much, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Sri Naganandura Swamiji to kindly present our token of gratitude to the speaker. That was a wonderful presentation by Sri Guru Prasad S. I would request Naganandura Swami to kindly stay on stage. He would be moderating the coming session. Ladies and gentlemen, to your kind notice, we are at session 10 on policy innovations powering India's decade. And at this session, we'll be having Sri Deependra Singh